ditching and rescue of ALM Flight 980. The book tells the true story of a 1970s airliner that ditched in the Caribbean Sea and the efforts to rescue those who survived. Author Emilio Corsetti is a professional pilot with over 17,000 hours of flight time. He's a graduate of St. Louis University. Please welcome him, Mr. Emilio Corsetti.
Thanks. Since we have a small crowd, we'll make it informal. Feel free to interrupt me and ask questions if you have any. As Sarah said in the introduction, this is a true story about an airliner, in this case a DC-9, that ran out of fuel and ditched in the Caribbean Sea. The plane had 57 passengers and 6 crew members. It was at the time and remains the only open water ditching of a commercial jet. Now, neither of the aircraft that ALM operated had the range to fly the route that ALM, the tower, was looking at. This is the actual plane that ditched. Appeared in the paper at Corsetti, November 935 Foxtrot. Okay, now, remember I told you they needed 2,200 pounds of fuel to go from St. Martin to St. Thomas. And the captain figured he had 2,400 pounds. And as they were on their way to St. Thomas, they were in weather. It was cloudy, it was storms, it was windy, it was just terrible conditions. And they had what's called a fuel totalizer that totalized the fuel in 4 fuel tanks that was on board. But because of the conditions, the fuel totalizer was spinning like a slot machine. The numbers were going as low as 400 to as high as 2,400. This here life vest is one of the actual life vests from that night. There's a story behind it, how I got it. You have to read the book to find that story out. The plane went in the water at 3:40 in the afternoon. It was going to get dark at 6:40, so they had 3 hours to get the people before it got dark. Now, this is a very good simulation of what the waves were like, the swells were like at the time of the ditching. They were 8 to 10 feet with some swells as high as 15 feet. Now, what would happen is the people would be in the water and they would go to the top of a swell. They could see all around them, then they would go back to a trough and they wouldn't be able to see anything. So this is the conditions that the way the ocean was in, or the sea was in at the time, but the only exception is the sky wasn't clear. The sky was overcast and they had rain. Very interesting story about what these guys did. I don't have time to get in. Yeah?
What could that plane do over the water?
Good question. What this plane could do is it had a clamshell door here, and they could open it in flight, which they did. If you have any questions, we have a few minutes for that. And we have some books available if you haven't purchased one already. If you have, you can purchase some for your friends.